All right, I want to share with you a tool called Enlighten AI. And in this video, we'll talk about what that program is and what it's able to do for you. And then do some reflection on this as well. So one thing that we talked about in our meeting was just this time when you got better at something with practice. And think about how often did you practice, what made it effective, and how did you know that you had gotten better? I would encourage you to just pause the video right now and think about that. So oftentimes we see that we practice something that we enjoy and we practice it often. And when we get immediate feedback, we're able to continue practicing. Like it makes us want to keep going when we have that immediate feedback. And we know we get better because we see different results. So one teacher had shared about batting in softball. Well, she ended up spending a lot of time practicing hitting her swings, just making contact with the ball so that when she got into a game, she was going to be a better batter, being able to hit the ball, take better swings, and things like that. If she only practiced when she stepped up into a game, she would have been terrible, right? Like maybe there's some natural ability there, but do not have the practice to face the situation. And so you're never going to get better if that's the only way you try to improve yourself. So we want our results to be quick, our practice sets to be quick, short, immediate feedback, and then being able to use that feedback and make improvements. So 3 things that we'll talk about with Enlighten AI. It's a personalized AI grading assistant for you as a teacher of writing when you want to give feedback on writing student work that's been written. It's also an immediate feedback assistant for students to get feedback on their writing, and also for you, an aid to generate teaching and reteaching resources. So think back on that practice experience you described at the beginning and take a moment to just compare and contrast the practice students get in writing to your experience. Think about how they are similar and different. And I would encourage you again to pause and think about that. Well, I think for the majority of us, we see maybe there's some student writing that we could do in short spurts. Maybe our students do quite a bit of writing. Maybe it's just journals or short paragraph things. But are they getting feedback on that? Is it that they're working through and learning a skill, or are you just having them get their thoughts out to reflect? If we want to focus on a specific skill, they need the feedback. So normally when we give longer writing assignments, maybe there's some feedback in the process, but by the time the paper is submitted, like their final draft is submitted, you go through it and you mark these up, and it takes you hours of time. And by the time they get the feedback, it's long gone, right? They're not focused on that assignment anymore because they've moved on to other things. And now that feedback isn't getting put into practice, and they're not going to apply it to their next assignment. So think about like the impact if we were able to improve the quantity, so the number of attempts, and the quality, meaning that they're getting feedback and getting better during practice. What effects would those have on students? Well, I think that if we give them those opportunities, we should see growth in our writing standards and our writing skills. So just thinking about feedback, right? It's according to John Hattie's study of what factors have effects on student learning. You can go read all of this research and learn more about it, but it's double the effect of most educational strategies. And in order for it to actually be effective, though, it needs to be specific, actionable, and timely. That means that we got to get to what students are able to improve, those specific things, how they're able to do that, steps that they could take, and it needs to be timely. They need to be in this process right here. So if we can give them frequent, high quality at-bats, right, just like the teacher shared her at-bats in batting practice with feedback, we could see improvement in writing. But it's super hard, right? Like if it takes you, if you have, let's say you're a high school English teacher and you have 90 students in your different sections, and you have like a couple page essays and you want to give detailed feedback on that, it's going to take you like a lot of time per essay, right? Lots of time. So this is just an estimate on 120 student essays taking 20 hours. Usually that time's outside of school, right? Like that's out of your contract hours. So giving good feedback is time consuming. But when you do give that good feedback, is it useful? Are students actually using it and applying it? Or did you spend all that time giving some detailed feedback for it to just go by the wayside with the majority of students? Well, Enlighten AI, this first solution, is that it is your personalized AI grading assistant.